Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Diablo 4 video, and in this one I'm going to talk about my takes on the game so far that I've experienced in Diablo 4 press release, as well as the launch of the game as well. Now, I'm currently level 73. We are currently rank 1 Necromancer, I believe. Yes, we are the highest level Necromancer in the game, and top 10 overall, counted on the streamers. So there might be people, non-streamers, that is above. It is possible for us to tell. So we've been pushing quite hard, and I'm playing what I deem to be the best Necromancer build for party play, which has been a Bone Spirit build, leading into a Bone Spirit build thanks to the Blood Artisan chest piece, and it's been pretty fun to play. However, there's a lot of issues. So let's talk about Diablo 4 as a general game and how I deem it to be in terms of enjoyment and how I'm feeling or rating it, or however I would view the game, because this is a question I keep getting on stream 24/7. And I will say that I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the game despite the consistent river that's flowing in my head with all the issues surrounding the game. And I'm not just referring to some lag issues when you're in town with FPS drops and whatnot. That's the only server issues. Other than that, it's been a great launch in general. I am mostly referring to things like the decision makings from the Blizzard D4 team when it comes to the race part, with how they're treating the situations. Instead of proactively making decisions, they made decisions based on reactions. And it's just making people that are very competent and definitely very well suited for their roles in their jobs, but their perception of what they are typing, or their perception of their responses in the public atmosphere makes them seem completely incompetent. And I'm really tired of that, because these people are far from incompetent, but they seem to be happy with playing stupid, and it pisses me off. And that's one of the biggest issues I have with D4 right now. Outside of that, the game's been great. The graphics and everything, you know, it's a Blizzard game. The cutscenes are amazing. The graphics feel good. Combat feels good. Can be a bit repetitive, but it feels good nonetheless. I'm very much enjoying that. And I actually am surprised with the fact that they actually increased the difficulty, because we expected level 100 to take about 35 to 40 hours. We have passed that right now, and we're level 73. Sure, we slacked a little bit. We could have been 80 something. Still, not 100. Pretty far away from 100. So I'm very happy with the fact that the difficulty spikes when you're progressing in the different world tiers to the first capstone dungeon in Queue of Ashad. This was a nice little step. Normally you want to do it before you level there. It was a very good experience doing that. The second capstone dungeon we did is a level 70 dungeon. We went into doing it level 58, 59, I think it was. And it was hilariously hard, but it was very fun to tackle such an encounter. Outside of that, the different world tier stages makes your full legendary best in slot gear completely feel irrelevant and completely stupid when you're suddenly getting literally slapped to pieces immediately. So I actually really like the difficulty steps, really forcing you to think about how you're planning your gear, but most specifically how you're planning your Paragon board. So I've actually been very happy with that approach personally. Now, a lot of people are saying that this game is basically just a reskin to Diablo 3, and they mean that with a very, very bad, from a bad side. They're basically saying it's just a reskin Diablo 3, it's terrible, it's bad because of that. And I will say that I feel like Diablo 4 is a reskin Diablo 3 in a good way. Now, I played Diablo 3 up until Reaper of Souls came out, and I didn't enjoy it that very much. And then I came back to Diablo 3 9 years later for the last week of their, not the last week, but the first week of their last season. And found myself enjoying it for 3 days, and then was boring as fuck. So taking that experience I had with Diablo 3 and looking at what Diablo 4 has, to me it feels like they have literally taken Diablo 3 and reskinned it and modernized it and then added more to it. And made a game that I found myself not enjoying, to create a game that I'm actually finding myself enjoying very much. And there are some key features to this that makes me enjoy this extra much, or an extra layer of enjoyment, I guess. Because if I play games like Path of Exile, I'd play in a party. I feel punished for playing in a party in most cases, unless all players are racers and they all know exactly what the fuck they're doing. Because if I play Diablo 4 with racers, some of them are not racers, but some people have raced in the past, we're just having a great time, and I do not feel punished for playing in a party. Even though some cases, solo play would be more effective, I'm having a blast playing in a party, and it just feels good to play in a party in this game, which I think is great. That's something other games such as Path of Exile does not make me feel when I'm playing in a party on a launch, for example. So when it comes to the reskin approach, the Greater Rifts, I didn't really have a good experience with those in Diablo 3. They felt very repetitive and boring. The dungeons and the way they have the modifiers and affixes, or maps, if you will, for those of you who are more familiar with that acronym, I would say that the Nightmare dungeons in Diablo 4 just generally feels way more interesting to run. There are certain mods we're trying to avoid. There are certain mods that we can tackle, or we have to play it accordingly depending on the mods that's on them. And different tiers will force us to do, or actually treat it differently. And I'm just generally having a good time with it. So I think that in itself is very, very enjoyable when it comes to this reskinned Diablo 3 personally. Other than that, I feel like a lot of people were complaining about, or were concerned about, the risk of respecking and stuff like that. And that's scaled entirely around your character's level. So if I wanted to respec my entire tree, which you most likely would not do, that would now cost me 700,000 gold. However, 1 point would cost me 12,000 gold right now. Last level, that would be 11.8k. If I sell one legendary item, that's 38,000 gold. If I sell a rare item, that's 22,000 gold. So just selling one item is like 1 or 2 respec points by itself. And on top of that, it's the same thing when it comes to the Paragon board. If I respec a point that's going to cost me 4,500 or 5,000 gold, it's nothing. Respecking doesn't cost anything. If I want to re-equip or re-gear and upgrade one item, I have to expect it to cost 1 to 1.5 million gold, and that's where the gold sink comes in, not your respecs. So I don't have to worry about that. I also kind of dig the idea that the unique items aren't that super rare. Obviously, I haven't seen a Shaco, but I've seen several of the other items. Only one chest piece so far, though. And it's actually been very enjoyable by default to go through the unique items and the sacred and the ancestral item types and different ways of handling the imprints. For example, I've been taking off the aspects. For example, like this one here is an almost top roll grasping veins. This is a top rolled embalmer, which I'm using for my build. So those I've been saving and go from there. Outside of that, I think that there's a lot of things you can do in Diablo 4 that feels really good. Right now, we just did a stronghold, or they did. I leached it. There are hell tides that you can do, which is currently not active on my screen. And you can do things like Whispers of the Dead, which we have to sort because we haven't done that yet for the approach of World Tier 4. And then there's Nightmare Dungeons, as well as fixing the Renown and stuff like that, farming those things. There's a lot of things you can do that would make a casual player enjoy this game for quite some time on each season. And for someone that no life teaches this game, because I've been playing it since launch, I've only had 3 hours of sleep, and it is currently Saturday evening, apparently, 6 p.m. And the launch came Thursday night, and I've slept 3 hours during that time frame, and I'm not even close to 100, apparently. Which is kind of crazy to me. So there's a lot of content that you can engage with. It's very enjoyable. But again, to call it a reskin D3, in my opinion, has actually been a good thing and not a negative thing. For that, this is the perspective from people that I've been seeing, that is a bad thing. There's also no set items, which I think is a good thing, because Diablo 3 turned into this idea where just getting a full set is all you needed, and then the rest of the gear was how you tweaked it. That's not the case here, and I actually very much enjoy that, where a unique item might be the build enabling thing. For me, it's this item, for example. Outside of that, I do want to mention a couple of the negative things, not so much about the company side of things, which I've already mentioned briefly. I feel like minions, Necromancer, and the class balance is one of the biggest issues. I don't understand the idea that Adam Jackson, lead class designer of Diablo 4, decided that it would be a good thing that the Necromancer class would have 3 main fantasies, Shadowbone and Blood, and then having minions be a subpar army type that you could choose to opt into or not. That was the main idea, which basically says that they did not have any intentions in making a pure minion build be the idea of playing. So most functional minion builds, they will use another core ability, such as Bone Spear, as an example, to apply vulnerability, but that will also be their main source of damage for the longest of times, because minions are not going to survive very well during the campaign. It's going to be the slowest build of the Necromancer builds that you can do. And this Necromancer is the slowest class of the entire game because it lacks a proper mobility skill. I don't understand why every other class have access to a mobility skill and the Necromancer is left in the dust and becoming the slowest of them all. I just don't understand it. Now, obviously, despite this, we're currently top 10 in levels on a Necromancer. That has more to do with how I'm degenning no-lifing this game and less to do with the character class that I'm playing. So outside of that, I feel like minions in general will function in the end game once you get the Paragon board. I have a build guide for this, obviously listed in the descriptions below. That they will function. The problem is not that they won't do enough damage, because they will do tons of damage. The problem is there's no convocation-like ability, which we have in PoE, that allows you to have your minions to move forward. When you go forward, your minions will follow you, then they will attack a target or move up to the target to then deal their damage. Then they will move to the next target, and then your minions will move after. You are doing all of this without a mobility skill. You're literally playing the slowest character you could possibly imagine on the slowest build in the entire class in the entire game. It will not feel good because of those two reasons alone. Now, I will play it myself anyways, because I actually really love playing the minion archetype of ARPG games. I'll definitely be doing it, but I know for a fact it's going to be slow. And a lot of people are discouraged because of that. And I just don't understand the reasoning behind it. And there's so many solutions they could have done to fixing this. And I just don't know what to make of it, if you will. I really don't understand it. But again, to finalize my thoughts, not to go off too much of a tangent here, I do want to say that I consider this game to be just a modernized, retweaked, and buffed version of Diablo 3, which in my book is actually a really good thing. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun playing Diablo 4 moving forward by weaving it in after PoE. After PoE season launches, if the Diablo 4 has a launch, say a month, 1.5 later, I'm definitely going to play the Diablo 4 seasons without a doubt. And I'm going to keep updating my guides. That's linked in the descriptions below as well. I'm actually having a lot of fun with that. So I'm very excited for this, and I actually think it's fun. And no cap. Like, that's just the way I perceive the game right now. Longevity. Maybe the game won't be keeping me interested for 2 months straight. But 1 month of game time, no lifing, that's pretty damn good in my book. Anyways, enough with this rant. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below. I'll catch you guys at the next one. And, you know, the YouTube algorithm gods, yada yada. Make sure you hit the fucking subscribe button. You know, I'm tired of fucking asking. But if I don't say anything, people won't sub. So, you know, sub, please. Just fucking hit the button. Doesn't cost you anything. Like the video as well while you're at it. And leave a comment. You know, all that jazz. I'll catch you on the next one. Till then, stay safe. Keep rocking.